The suitcase lay open on our bed like a mouth waiting to be fed. I watched from the doorway as Jennifer folded another sundress, the red one I'd bought her for our anniversary last year. She hadn't worn it for me in months. "You're staring again," she said without looking up. "It's suffocating, David." I smiled, though she couldn't see it. "Just admiring how organized you are. Need help with anything? I can pack my own bag for a weekend." Her tone was sharp, dismissive, the same tone she'd been using for weeks now. "This is exactly what I'm talking about. You hover. You watch. You're always there. I'm your husband. Where else would I be?" She finally looked at me and I saw it, that flash of guilt quickly masked by annoyance. "I need space." Is that so hard to understand? 3 days alone at the cabin. To think, the cabin, her friend Sarah's family cabin upstate. Except Sarah had called our house yesterday while Jennifer was at the gym, wondering if we'd like to join them for dinner next week. She'd mentioned nothing about lending Jennifer the cabin, because Sarah didn't know about this trip, but I did. I knew exactly what this trip was. "Of course not," I said, walking into the room. "Space is healthy. I actually got you something for the trip." Her eyes narrowed. "David, I don't need, it's just a new GPS device for the car. Your old one's been glitchy and those mountain roads can be tricky." I pulled the small box from my pocket. Latest model. Crystal clear directions, emergency features, the works. I already installed it this morning while you were showering. Just need to sync it to your phone. She stared at the box and for a moment I thought she might refuse. But vanity won. She'd been complaining about her old GPS for months and this gave her a convenient excuse. "That's actually thoughtful," she admitted, taking the box. "Thanks. Anything for you, Jen?" The packing continued. I sat on the edge of the bed, handing her items when she needed them. Toiletries, that expensive perfume. The black lingerie set I'd never seen her wear. Each item told the story she thought I was too stupid to read. "You know what your problem is?" she said, zipping up her makeup bag. "You're too clingy, too dependent. I can't breathe in this marriage anymore." "I'm sorry you feel that way." "Are you, though?" She turned to face me fully. "Or are you just saying what you think I want to hear?" "That's what you always do. You never fight back. You never get angry. It's like living with a ghost. I could have told her then. Could have mentioned that I'd seen the texts on her laptop 3 weeks ago when she'd left it open. Could have described in detail how Marcus from her office had been planning this weekend getaway with her for the past month. Could have recited their conversations about hotel reservations, about finally being free, about what they'd do when they were finally alone together. Instead, I stood and picked up her suitcase. "Car's in the driveway. Let me help you load up." She blinked, surprised by my sudden cooperation. "Oh, okay." We walked through our house in silence, past the wedding photos on the wall, past the kitchen where we'd cooked 1,000 meals together, past the living room where we'd planned our future. All of it becoming past tense with each step. The morning sun was bright as I loaded her suitcase into the trunk of her Toyota. She detailed it yesterday, wanted it perfect for the trip. For him. "David," she said as I closed the trunk. Her voice had softened slightly. "I do care about you. I need to figure out what I want." "I understand," I said, and I did. I understood perfectly. She kissed my cheek, a gesture more insulting than comforting, and slid into the driver's seat. The engine started with a purr. The new GPS unit glowed to life on her dashboard. "Have a safe trip," I called out. "Call me when you get there." "Sure," she lied. I watched her car disappear down our street, turn left at the intersection and vanish from sight. But not from my knowledge. Never from my knowledge. Back inside, I opened my laptop and pulled up the GPS tracking software. A red dot moved steadily across the digital map, not northwest toward the cabin, but east. Toward the city. Toward the Riverside Hotel, where a reservation stood in the name of Marcus Chendar, had 3 days. 3 days to be patient. 3 days to let her make every choice that would destroy her. My phone buzzed. A text from my lawyer. "Everything ready on my end. You sure about this?" I typed back, "Never been more sure of anything." The first day was the hardest. Not because I missed her. That ship had sailed the moment I'd read those messages, but because waiting required a discipline I'd spent our entire marriage suppressing. Jennifer had always called me passive, clingy, weak. She had no idea that patience and weakness were not the same thing. I spent Friday morning at the office acting normal. My colleagues asked about my weekend plans. Jennifer's upstate at a friend's cabin. I said with a smile. Solo retreat. I'm just going to catch up on some projects around the house. They nodded sympathetically. Jim from accounting even clapped me on the shoulder. Good for her, man. Everyone needs space sometimes. You're a good husband for understanding that. If only they knew. At lunch, I checked the GPS tracker on my phone. The red dot had been stationary at the Riverside Hotel for 3 hours. I zoomed in, noting the exact coordinates. The hotel had valet parking, but I'd already confirmed with a quick call that they also had security cameras covering the garage. Timestamps, license plates, everything documented. My phone rang. Jennifer's name flashed on the screen. Hey, honey, I answered, voice perfectly calibrated to loving concern. Hi. She sounded breathless, flustered. Just wanted to let you know I got here safely. That's great. How's the cabin? A pause, too long. It's beautiful. Really peaceful. The lake is gorgeous. The lake that didn't exist at the Riverside Hotel. The mountain view that was actually a cityscape. The solitude that included a married coworker in room 1247. I'm so glad you're getting the relaxation you need, I said. Weather good? Perfect. Listen, I should go. I want to get settled before it gets dark. It was 1 p.m., of course. Love you, the briefest hesitation. You too, the line went dead. I stared at my phone, then pulled up my email. 3 new messages from Detective Sarah Morrison, the private investigator I'd hired 2 weeks ago. I opened them in sequence. The first contained photos from this morning. Jennifer's car pulling into the Riverside Hotel. Timestamp 10:47 a.m. The second showed Marcus Chen arriving separately in his BMW. Timestamp 11:15 a.m. The third was a video file. I plugged in my earbuds before pressing play. Hotel lobby footage showed Jennifer at the check-in desk, animated and smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. Then Marcus appeared, sliding his arm around her waist. She leaned into him like it was the most natural thing in the world. They kissed, not a peck, but the kind of kiss that spoke of intimacy and familiarity. The kind that proved this wasn't their first time. The desk clerk handed them a key card. They walked to the elevator, his hand on the small of her back, her head on his shoulder. Room 1247. Just as I'd suspected, I forwarded all 3 emails to my lawyer, then to a separate encrypted folder I'd been building for weeks. Text messages. Credit card statements showing lunches and gifts I'd never received. A pattern of late nights working that coincided perfectly with Marcus's schedule. Jennifer thought she'd been careful covering her tracks. She'd just never considered that I'd been watching since the beginning. That evening, I did exactly what I'd told my coworkers I'd do. Projects around the house. I started in her office, the spare bedroom she'd converted into her personal space, the one room she'd insisted I never enter without knocking. I didn't knock. Her desk drawers weren't even locked. I found a burner phone in the bottom drawer, tucked inside an old purse. Dozens of messages between her and Marcus going back 7 months. Far longer than I'd initially thought. Can't wait to finally wake up next to you. 3 more months until his birthday. That's when I'll tell him. We can be together after that. He's so clueless. Sometimes I feel bad, but then I remember how suffocating he is. My birthday. She'd been planning to destroy me on my birthday. Probably positioning it as some cruel gift. Her freedom. My devastation. I photographed every message, then carefully returned the phone to its hiding place. In her closet, behind a box of old textbooks, I found a folder. Inside, apartment listings in the city, all 1-bedrooms. A printout of divorce attorney websites with 3 names highlighted. A handwritten note in Marcus's handwriting. Just a few more weeks, baby. Then we start our real life. I photographed everything. By midnight, I had built a case that would stand up in any court. But I wasn't done. Not yet. I checked the GPS tracker one more time. The red dot hadn't moved from the hotel. I opened a separate app, the one connected to the audio feature I'd also installed in her car. It could be activated remotely when the car was turned on. I'd have recordings of every conversation, every destination, every moment of her solo weekend. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer, turning in early. Tired from the drive. Good night. The GPS showed her car still parked. Hotel room service charges had just hit the credit card, our credit card, for 2 meals, champagne, and chocolate-covered strawberries. I texted back, sleep well. Miss you. Then I opened my laptop and began drafting the document that would end our marriage. Not with my emotion or anger, but with cold, irrefutable facts. Jennifer wanted space. She was about to get more than she ever imagined. Saturday morning arrived with rain. I watched the weather on my phone, storms in the city where Jennifer actually was, clear skies in the mountains where she'd claimed to be. Details mattered. My phone rang at 9 a.m. Jennifer, right on schedule. She'd always been a creature of habit, even in her deception. Morning, I answered, adding a yawn for effect. You're up early for a relaxation weekend. The rain woke me up, she said. I could hear tension in her voice. It's really coming down here. That's strange, I said casually. Weather app shows clear skies in the mountains today. Must be very localized. Silence. Then it must be passing through. It's already letting up. I pulled up the live traffic camera feed from the Riverside Hotel District. Rain poured steadily. Well, stay safe if you go out. What's on your agenda today? Probably just reading by the fireplace. Really low-key. The hotel room had no fireplace. I checked the floor plan. Sounds perfect. Hey, random question. Can you take a picture of the lake view? I want to see what I'm missing. Another pause. My phone camera's been acting up. I'll try to get a shot later when the weather's better. No worries. Enjoy your book. After she hung up, I checked the tracker. The car had moved, just out of the hotel parking garage and around the corner to a public lot. Clever. Marcus must have suggested it, paranoid about hotel security. They didn't know I had eyes everywhere. Detective Morrison's morning report came through. Jennifer and Marcus had left the hotel at 8:30 a.m., driven separately to a breakfast place downtown, then proceeded to the public lot where they'd left Jennifer's car before taking his BMW to an art gallery. An art gallery. Playing at culture while destroying a marriage? I spent the morning boxing up Jennifer's belongings, not all of them, just the personal items she'd want after. Her grandmother's jewelry box, photo albums from her childhood, the teddy bear she'd had since she was 6. I carefully packed each item, labeled the boxes, and stored them in the garage. The act was both practical and therapeutic. Each box represented a piece of our life together being disassembled, but under my terms, not hers. My lawyer called at noon. David, I've reviewed everything you've sent. It's comprehensive. In this state, with this level of evidence, you're looking at a very favorable settlement. The judge will take her infidelity into account for asset division. That's not what I'm most concerned about, I said. I know, but there's something else. Those credit card statements you sent, the charges for the hotel, the dinners, the gifts. If she's using joint funds for an extramarital affair, you have additional leverage. And Marcus, what about him? He's married too. Wife and 2 kids. I did some digging. His wife might be interested in knowing where her husband is this weekend. My hand tightened on the phone. Hold that thought. I want to time this right. Your call. But David, don't let revenge cloud your judgment. This is already a win for you. After hanging up, I sat in our living room, my living room now, really, and thought about Marcus's wife, Christina. I'd met her once at a company holiday party 2 years ago. She'd been friendly, warm, holding their youngest daughter on her hip while making small talk about how hard it was to balance work and family. She deserved to know. But like everything else, timing mattered. I checked the tracker again. The car was on the move, heading north out of the city. I zoomed in on the route. They were going to Ashford Park, a scenic overlook about an hour away, popular for its hiking trails and secluded picnic areas. The audio feature had been recording every conversation. I downloaded the latest file and pressed play. Marcus's voice came through first. Finally feels real, doesn't it? Just us, no hiding. I know. Jennifer sounded happier than I'd heard her in months. I wish we'd done this sooner. We had to be careful. You said David's clueless, but still, he is, trust me. He's so focused on being the perfect attentive husband that he can't see past his own neediness. He'd never suspect, my jaw clenched. The perfect attentive husband. The crimes I'd committed by loving her. Marcus laughed. Still, 3 more months seems like forever. You sure you can't just tell him now? I want to, but the timing has to be right. His birthday makes sense. I can frame it as me giving him the gift of honesty, of freedom. He's such a martyr, he'll probably thank me for it. They both laughed. The sound turned my stomach. What about Christina? Jennifer asked, what about her? She'll be fine. She's got her mom nearby and she's always been more into the kids than into us anyway. She'll barely notice I'm gone." The callousness in his voice was staggering. Two families, destroyed so casually, discussed over what I could hear was the clinking of wine glasses. I stopped the recording. I'd heard enough. That evening I received photos from Detective Morrison. Jennifer and Marcus hiking, holding hands. Jennifer and Marcus at the overlook, kissing with the sunset behind them. Jennifer and Marcus at a roadside restaurant, feeding each other dessert. Each photo was time-stamped and GPS tagged. Each one would be admissible in court. My phone rang. Jennifer again. "Hey," she said. "Just checking in. How was your day?" "Productive. Got a lot done around the house. Yours?" "Quiet, exactly what I needed. I went for a walk by the lake, did some thinking. The lies came so easily to her now." "I'm glad you're getting what you need," I said. "When you coming home tomorrow?" "I'm thinking around 5 p.m. I want to enjoy the full day up here." "Perfect. I'll make dinner. We should talk when you get back." "Talk?" Suspicion crept into her voice. "About giving you more space. You're right, I've been too clingy. I want to work on that." Relief flooded her response. "Oh, David, that's..." "Thank you. That means a lot. See you tomorrow, Jen." After she hung up, I made one final call. "Detective Morrison, tomorrow at 5 p.m. I need you and 2 witnesses at my house. Yes, video documentation. And please reach out to Christina Chen. She deserves to know where her husband is before Jennifer gets home." "Are you sure you want to do it this way?" I looked around our house, the life we'd built that had been a lie for at least 7 months, possibly longer. I've never been more sure of anything. Sunday morning I woke at dawn. The house felt different. Lighter somehow, as if the weight of pretense had already begun to lift. Today the performance ended. I checked the tracker first thing. Jennifer's car was still at the hotel. The audio files from Saturday night were waiting for me, but I didn't listen. I'd heard enough of their plans, their mockery, their casual destruction of vows. The evidence folder on my laptop had grown to over 200 files. Photographs, recordings, financial records, GPS logs. A digital chronicle of betrayal so comprehensive that no judge, no mediator, no mutual friend could ever question what had happened. At 9 a.m., Detective Morrison called. "Christina Chen knows. I showed her the photos an hour ago. How did she take it?" "About how you'd expect. Shock, then anger, then a very cold determination. She's already contacted a lawyer. She asked me to thank you for telling her. I wish I'd told her sooner. You couldn't have known it would matter to her timeline. But David, you should know. She's planning to confront Marcus today. This could get messy. It's already messy. At least now everyone's working with the truth." After hanging up, I began preparing the house. I'd hired professional cleaners yesterday to make everything spotless. I wanted Jennifer to walk into perfection, to see exactly what she was throwing away. The dining table was set for 2. I'd bought fresh flowers for the centerpiece. In the kitchen, her favorite meal was prepped and ready to cook. Lemon chicken, roasted vegetables, the fancy bread from the bakery she loved. Next to her place setting, I laid out a manila folder. Inside was every document my lawyer had prepared. Divorce papers, asset division proposals, the evidence summary. Everything organized with tabs and labels, as neat as her suitcase had been when she'd packed for her solo weekend. At noon, the tracker showed movement. Jennifer's car leaving the hotel, heading west. She texted me an hour earlier, leaving soon. Can't wait to sleep in my own bed tonight. Our bed. She'd stopped thinking of it as ours weeks ago. I watched the red dot traverse the highway, stop at a gas station, continue onward, every mile bringing her closer to consequences she couldn't imagine. At 2 p.m. my doorbell rang. Detective Morrison stood on the porch with 2 associates, a videographer and a legal witness. I'd hired them to document everything, ensure there could be no dispute about what happened next. "The cameras are discreet," Morrison assured me. "She won't notice unless she's looking for them." "Are you ready for this?" "I've been ready for 3 weeks." They set up in the living room, angling cameras to capture the entryway and dining room. The videographer ran sound checks. The legal witness, a notary named Patricia, reviewed her documentation procedures. "Mr. Hayes," Patricia said quietly, "I've been doing this for 20 years. I've seen a lot of confrontations. My advice, stay calm. Don't let emotion derail what you've built here. The evidence speaks for itself." "I'm not the one who will be emotional," I said. At 4 p.m., Marcus Chen's world collapsed. Detective Morrison showed me the texts from Christina. Confrontation successful. Marcus admitted everything. She'd kicked him out of their home with nothing but a suitcase. His parents were picking him up. His lawyer would be in contact. Does Jennifer know yet? I asked. Not unless Marcus told her. But his phone's been off since Christina confronted him. Perfect. Jennifer would walk in expecting one scenario and find something completely different. At 4:47 p.m., the tracker showed her car turning onto our street. My pulse didn't quicken. My hands didn't shake. I felt the calm that comes from absolute certainty. The doorbell rang at 4:52 p.m. I opened it wearing the same pleasant expression I'd worn on Friday morning. "Hi, honey," I said. "Welcome home." Jennifer looked tired but content, the expression of someone who'd spent 3 days in luxury, not mountain solitude. Her hair was styled differently. She wore makeup, the good makeup, the kind she'd stopped wearing for our date nights months ago. "Hi," she said, stepping inside. "God, it's good to be back. How was the cabin?" "Peaceful. Exactly what I needed." She set her purse down, glanced toward the dining room. "What's all this?" "Welcome home dinner. I thought we could talk, like I mentioned." She saw the flowers, the place settings, and something in her posture softened. Guilt, maybe, or relief that I was making this easy for her. "David, that's sweet, but I'm exhausted. Can we do this tomorrow?" "Actually, I think we should do this now. We have guests." Her eyes widened as Detective Morrison stepped into view, followed by the videographer and Patricia. What is this?" Jennifer's voice climbed an octave. "This is the conversation we should have had weeks ago," I said calmly. "Please sit down. I don't understand." "Who are these people?" "Detective Morrison, private investigator. Patricia, legal witness. And this is being recorded for documentation purposes. Please, Jen, sit." The color drained from her face. She looked at the dining room, at the manila folder next to her plate, and understanding began to dawn. "David, whatever you think." "I don't think anything. I know." I walked to the table and opened the folder. "I know about Marcus. I know about the Riverside Hotel. I know about the 7 months of planning, the burner phone in your desk drawer, the apartment listings in your closet. I know about every lie you've told me for the past 3 days." She stood frozen in the entryway, suitcase still in hand. "The same suitcase I'd helped her load on Friday morning. The GPS tracker I gave you." I continued. "It's been recording your location every minute. The car's audio system? Also recording. I have photographs, timestamps, credit card records, text message logs, and witness testimony. I know everything, Jennifer, everything." Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I pulled out my phone and played the audio file from Saturday. Her own voice filled our living room. "He's so focused on being the perfect, attentive husband that he can't see past his own neediness. He'd never suspect." Marcus's laugh followed, then her laugh. I stopped the recording. "That folder contains divorce papers. Our lawyer, my lawyer now, has prepared a very straightforward settlement based on your adultery. This state isn't kind to cheating spouses using marital funds to support their affairs. Every hotel charge, every dinner, every gift you bought Marcus with our money, it's all documented." "David, please, I can explain." "No need. The evidence explains everything." I glanced at Detective Morrison. "We're done here. Thank you for your time." As the investigators began packing their equipment, Jennifer finally found her voice. "You bastard. You manipulative bastard! You let me go. You helped me pack. I gave you exactly what you asked for," I said quietly. "Space, freedom, the chance to make your own choices. You made them. Now you live with them. This is entrapment. It's documentation. There's a difference. You chose to cheat. You chose to lie. You chose Marcus. I just made sure there was a record." Her face crumpled. Please, David, we can work this out." "I made a mistake. I'll end it with Marcus. We can go to counseling." "Marcus's wife kicked him out 3 hours ago," I said. "He's staying with his parents. His lawyer and her lawyer are already talking. So no, you won't be ending it with Marcus. Christina already did that for you." The information hit her like a physical blow. She stumbled backward, catching herself on the wall. "Sign the papers, Jennifer. My lawyer will be in touch tomorrow to arrange your departure. You have 2 weeks to remove your belongings. I've already packed your personal items. They're in the garage. Where am I supposed to go?" "That's not my concern anymore. You've been planning to leave for months. I'm sure you'll figure it out." I walked past her to hold the door open. "Goodbye, Jennifer." She looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw the moment she understood. The man she'd thought was too weak to leave, too clingy to survive without her, had just dismantled her entire life with surgical precision. She picked up her suitcase and walked out. No more words, no more lies. I closed the door and turned to find Detective Morrison watching me. "You okay?" she asked. "I'm perfect," I said, and meant it. The house felt larger without Jennifer's presence, but not empty. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched as the dominoes I'd carefully arranged fell one after another, each consequence landing exactly where it should. Monday morning, my lawyer called with an update. "Jennifer hired an attorney. He's already talking settlement. When he saw your evidence file, he advised her not to fight the divorce terms. She'll be out of the house by Friday." "What about the financial division? She gets 30% instead of 50%. The judge saw the affair expenses and wasn't sympathetic. Your retirement accounts stay intact. The house is yours. She signed off on it this morning. 30%. The price of 7 months of lies." That afternoon, I received an email from Christina Chen. The subject line read simply, "Thank you, Mr. Hayes. I don't know if you'll read this, but I needed you to know how grateful I am. Marcus had been lying to me for months. Your detective gave me proof of what I already knew in my heart. My daughters will be hurt, but they'll heal, and they'll grow up knowing their mother didn't accept betrayal. I'm filing for divorce and full custody. My lawyer says your evidence will help my case too. Thank you for being brave enough to show me the truth." I forwarded it to Detective Morrison with a note. "This is why documentation matters." Wednesday brought Jennifer's final appearance at the house. I'd arranged to be at the office, letting her pack in peace with a moving company I'd hired and paid for. Even in divorce, I could be generous on my terms. When I returned that evening, her spaces were empty. In the kitchen, she'd left her wedding ring on the counter with a note. "I'm sorry. I know that's not enough. I was selfish and cruel. You deserved better." I read it once, then threw it away. Forgiveness wasn't on the agenda. Closure was. By Friday, the paperwork was finalized. Our marriage officially ended after 5 years, 2 months, and 17 days. My colleagues asked how I was doing. I told them I was fine, that I was looking forward to the next chapter. What they didn't know was that I wasn't grieving. I was free. My phone buzzed that weekend. A text from Marcus's number. "You destroyed my life." I typed back, "No, you destroyed your life. I just documented it." Block. Delete. Another text from Jennifer's new number. "I never meant to hurt you." "Yes, you did. You just didn't mean to face consequences." Block. Delete. 3 months later, I heard through mutual friends that Jennifer and Marcus had tried to make it work. Without the thrill of secrecy, they discovered they had nothing in common. She'd moved in with her sister. He was living in a studio apartment, fighting Christina for visitation rights. The affair that had seemed worth destroying 2 marriages for lasted exactly 6 weeks after exposure. 6 months after the divorce, I received a subpoena. Christina's case had gone to trial, and she'd listed me as a witness. Marcus was fighting custody, claiming his affair was a mistake that shouldn't cost him his children. I testified for 45 minutes, presenting the GPS logs and audio recordings of Marcus discussing his children as obstacles to his happiness. The judge's expression hardened as she listened. Christina won full custody. Marcus got supervised visitation every other weekend. Outside the courthouse, Christina hugged me. "You saved us. All of us. You saved yourself," I replied. "I just provided information." 1 year after Jennifer left, I sold our house. The profit was entirely mine per the settlement. I bought a smaller place across town, a space with no memories. On the anniversary of discovering Jennifer's texts, I made dinner for myself. Lemon chicken, roasted vegetables, the fancy bread. I set the table with flowers, poured wine, and toasted to the man I'd become. The doorbell rang. Detective Morrison stood there holding champagne. "Thought you might want company," she said. "1 year sober from bullshit deserves a celebration." We drank and talked about the case, about patterns in infidelity investigations. "You know what makes your case different?" she asked. "Most people fall apart. You stayed calm. Clinical, almost." "I wasn't cold," I corrected. "I was careful." "There's a difference." "Why?" "Because emotion is what they expected. Jennifer thought I'd beg her to stay. Marcus thought I'd be the pathetic husband who never saw it coming, staying calm, documenting everything, letting them think they'd won right up until they lost. That was the only way to truly win. Morrison nodded slowly. You're kinda terrifying, you know that? Only to people who betray me. Jennifer had wanted space. She'd gotten it, along with a smaller apartment, a tarnished reputation, and the knowledge that her quiet exit had become a documented masterclass in consequences. Marcus had wanted freedom. He'd gotten supervised visits with his children, a bitter ex-wife, and co-workers who knew exactly why his marriage ended. And me, I'd wanted truth. I'd gotten that, plus my dignity, my assets, and the satisfaction of knowing I'd never been the fool they thought I was. 2 years later, I met Rachel. She was everything Jennifer wasn't. Honest, direct, someone who communicated instead of deceived. When I told her my story, she asked one question. Would you do it again? Document everything and stay calm while my world burned? I considered it. Yes, every time. The alternative is being a victim, and I'm done with that. She smiled. Good. I never want to date a victim anyway. We married the following spring in a small ceremony with people who'd supported me through the divorce. No drama, no games, just honest vows between two people who understood what commitment actually meant. On our wedding night, Rachel asked me if I ever thought about Jennifer. Sometimes, I admitted. Not with anger or regret, just acknowledgement. She taught me what I wouldn't accept. That's valuable. What wouldn't you accept? Being underestimated, being lied to, being treated like I'm too weak to handle the truth. I looked at my new wife. She called me clingy for caring. She called me weak for being patient. She mistook kindness for stupidity. Her loss, Rachel said simply, and it was. Jennifer had thrown away a man who would have loved her through anything if she'd just been honest. Instead, she'd chosen deception and paid the price. As for me, I'd learned that strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent, patient, and thorough. Sometimes it's helping your cheating wife pack her car, handing her the GPS tracker that will document her betrayal, and watching her drive away with a smile. Sometimes strength is staying calm while you build the case that will protect your future. Jennifer had wanted her freedom. She got it, just not the way she'd planned, and I got mine exactly the way I designed it.